had to practice taking off my mask. I got hearing aids. I'm a bit worried right now because we have a place at the coast and it's built on sand. I'd like to first tell you a little bit about myself, and I promise it'll be a little bit. I've been involved with the Endowment Committee for a long time. And I admit, I am passionate about endowment. I think that's why I'm here speaking to you. So today I'll try to briefly explain why I do believe it's so important to our church. And I'll include the very brief history of it at the end of my talk, it meaning the endowment. So why my passion about endowment? And it begins with the love Sue and I have for this church. In 1976, a couple years ago, we moved to Oregon with 3 young boys, and we, like many of you, shopped around for churches. After 2-3 visits, we never left. It just felt right. Over the years, we both grew to absolutely love this church. Its people, its programs, its theology, its fellowship, and including the lifetime friends that we both now have, except maybe on a golf course, maybe. Sue uses the word nourishing to help describe her love for this church. As in nourished by sermons, nourished by from our involvement in the life of the church, and in feeling good about the church's community outreach, such as Mary's House, William Walker Christmas gifts, and so many more. She wanted me to add that with that nourishment, she feels the energy to reach out to people and other things. I learned about grace in this community, and that song, Amazing Grace, was just perfect. That's this community. And with it being there for me so many times, and it's easier for me to give it because of this church. I love the resilience and involvement of our whole congregation in working through major issues and in tough times, and we've been through those. I do think about what the church will be like 20, 30, 50, many generations out, as we just heard. And I just hope and pray that at its core best, it continues well into that future. And that is why I believe the endowment is so important to this church. I see it as providing long-term financial stability for its community programs and facilities, as helping fund new opportunities that may come at us, maybe totally out of the blue. Think pandemic, huh? If we get into tough times, it could soften the financial impact. Severe tough times can happen. Sue and I witnessed the resilience of our congregation that got us through such a time in the very early 2000s. Because Sue and I believe the endowment is so important, we do contribute to it on a regular basis, and we have provided for it in our personal trusts. Now, to change the subject a bit, here's a little history about endowment. In 1998, Council formed a group to come up with a plan, and I quote, to create a strong endowment program, a program that will contribute significantly to the life of the church, and now and into the future. In February 1999, a few years ago, the group presented their proposal in the form of a memorandum and a resolution to the congregation for a vote, and it passed unanimously. There has been one amendment since then that also passed unanimously, if I can say that word right, in June 2020. The resolution is the trust, and this is important, authorization from you, the congregation, that gives the trust committee the power to separately manage the trust and its investments. And I want to mention that the committee, we got people that are seriously into this and feel this responsibility down deep. If interested, there are copies of the memorandum and the resolution in the back on that table where the cross is. And you can pick that up, or we can email you a copy sometime in the future or with a request to the church. As I said earlier, much has happened, so here's Jim.
Thanks, Bill, for sharing your passion for the Endowment Fund and its purpose for building long-term stability for our church. To help everyone understand a little bit more about how the endowment's managed and how you can participate, I'd like to answer 4 questions that we often receive. The first, most common question is, how big is the Endowment Fund? Well, I'm pleased to report that through donations and earnings, our endowment has grown to nearly $190,000. And those donations aren't from just a few families. Nearly 55 unique donors have contributed over the years. That $190,000 is invested in a conservative mix of assets, 36% in equities, 11% in cash, 53% in the $100,000 loan to our own church, which earns 3.75% interest each year. On top of that, the equity investments are in ESG funds, meaning they consider environmental, social, and governance issues, and specifically exclude companies in the tobacco, gaming, weapons, and fossil fuel industries. The second most common question we receive is, what type of projects has the endowment funded with its earnings? The Endowment Committee uses the retained earnings from our investments to support projects that are beyond the purview of the church's operating budget. Most recently, the endowment funded the broadcast system we've been using during the pandemic. Other projects funded by endowment include materials for our discussions on race, the commercial dishwasher and refrigerator purchased during our kitchen remodel, and so much more. So you may be wondering, what is the Endowment Committee asking of the congregation at this time? To help contribute to the long-term stability of the church and the community that we all love, we're asking everyone, as you are able, to consider donating to the Endowment Fund as part of a special endowment growth drive. While $190,000 may seem like a lot of money, the National UCC office recommends that churches target their endowment fund to be at least twice as large as their annual operating budget. That would imply for us an endowment of over $500,000. We'll get there, but it'll take time and the support of all of us. If you're able to participate, you can send a check or cash donation directly to the church. You can also donate via credit card by clicking the Give button on the church's website. Just remember to mention endowment in the comments section. If you do this, you might consider donating to honor birthdays or anniversaries, giving a certain amount for each of your family members' ages or the years that you've been married. You may also want to make a gift in honor of Mary Sue's 20 years with this community, which we will celebrate later this year. Or you might want to contribute to honor the church's 70th birthday that we forgot to celebrate last year due to the pandemic. A few tax-savvy ways to contribute that you may not have thought of include donating appreciated assets like stock or property, or tapping into the required minimum distributions of your individual retirement account. And to provide everyone an incentive to participate at this time, 2 generous members of the congregation have offered to match all donations up to a total of $10,000 that we received before June 30th this year. So your contributions will go twice as far. Finally, some of you may be wondering, are there other ways to participate? Well, beyond providing immediate gifts, there are many planned giving options for participating in the church's endowment fund. You can give through wills, you can identify the church as your beneficiary in your life insurance, and many more. In fact, all of the members of the endowment committee have set up planned giving vehicles to benefit the church's endowment fund. These topics require more time than we have today, so we've included a brochure in your bulletin. You can also visit the website, chuck.org/endowment, for more details. And to help you learn more about these options, we've arranged for UCC's Generosity Outreach Officer, Reverend Andrew Warner, to conduct a 1-hour planned giving seminar just for our church. It'll take place on Zoom, March 9th at 6 p.m. More information about that seminar will be shared in the Around the Church emails and can be obtained by talking to one of the endowment committee members that you see listed here. In summary, our endowment fund provides for the long-term stability, the rock that undergirds our church, ensuring this community will nourish the spiritual development of generations to come. Please visit the website, talk to one of the endowment committee members, or join our seminar on March 9th to learn how you can help build a stronger future for Cedar Hills UCC. Thank you.